soul message, weekly psychic soul message from Phillip. And to see what this is all about, we do have a question from the viewer. This is for week 43 of the year 2020. That is October the 18th to the 24th. See, I have to look at the calendar to figure that out. Yeah, oh my gosh, this month is going so quickly. This year is going so quickly. And I want to say, I think we're all pretty happy about this year going quickly. It's hard to see time go by so fast. And as my friend Anne Julian Thomas used to say, don't wish your life away. But sometimes it might be a little bit easier. Is it going to get easier for a while? No. You might go listen to the October monthly message, and I think there you'll learn it's not going to get easier for a while. And I don't know that I have to tell you that because I think pretty much everybody's figured that out. Anyway, our message for this week, or our question for this week, and I thank you all for coming, by the way, and I thank you all for your questions. You can put them in the comments below. You can email me. My email is below. You can go to my website and contact me through there. Well, hello, Joanne. You can hardly hear me? Okay, thank you. Let me do this. I'm glad you reminded me. Is that better? I bought a new computer, and I hope the rest of my life I never have to do this. And I did forget on my old computer, I didn't have to use a microphone. On the new one, I did. So I hope I do. So I hope that's better. Yes. All right. Thank you for letting me know that that's better. And thank you for letting me know it was a problem. And glad to see you, Wendy. Thank you for coming. Thank you all for coming week after week, for spreading the word. Hopefully we can help heal our world a little bit. And I was just laughing about how quickly time is going, and how, without wanting to wish our lives away, we probably all want to see 2020 speed along a little bit. And it seems to be doing that. Anyway, our question this week is from a viewer. And I always ask to please keep the questions general. And that way we're able to answer everybody's questions that pretty much all of us have. If you have personal questions, please do go ahead and give me a call, and we'll get you signed up for a private reading. My birthday is 11/11. Yours, Wendy, is 11/12. Well, exciting. And yes, mine is 11/11, and I will turn 75. And believe me, I feel every year of 75 right now. So anyway, let's get going here. I'm going to put my glasses on because it's just a little bit easier to see the print from a distance. And I've got the book down here. So our question is for Phillip. Expand on when you this refers back to last week with our video on. I don't think we talked about bonding, but I think we talked about soulmates and how we are all one, and we are ourselves. Our enemies may be who we are, may be another part of us, and how we live in, whoops, sorry, I hit the mic. How we live in multiple dimensions. And so this expands on a specific part of that. And the part is, when you dismiss another, you dismiss a part of yourself. We're going to expand on that this week to help a viewer understand that a little better, or to expand that for all of us. And thank you, viewer, for asking that question, because, you know, it always amazes me. I think, oh, I know the answers, my arrogant self. And then I start writing out these answers. I always write in my journals. And by the way, this particular journal, if you didn't see my last newsletter that came out last Friday, I'll quickly tell you the story. I always choose a new journal a couple of weeks before I complete the old journal, and sometimes even more than that, when I get to around 100 pages left in the journal. And so I looked at my bookcase of blank journals, and I chose one. And normally I pull it out of the shelf and put it up on top. And then I normally off thank you. And we just had a birthday on 10/11, Joanne. Glad to see you. Back to the story. I'm getting distracted here. I apologize. But anyway, so I pulled out the new journal. And as I started to pull it out, the phone rang. And then normally I pull out two or three to choose from, and then just kind of sit with them for the next couple of weeks. In this case, every time I went to pull out more than one or thought about the new journals, I kept coming back to the journal I had pulled out. And I thought, well, that's a brown journal, so it's kind of cool. I'll keep that. But I have to read what the cover says when I finally pulled it out, because I was finished with the other journal. And by the way, this is volume 172. So I do a lot of writing in my journals. And this one says, the cover says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. We've all heard that prayer. And we need to keep that prayer in mind as we go through the next several weeks, especially, but it's also going to be the next several months. Okay. So we're expanding on when you dismiss another, you dismiss a part of yourself. That was part of last week. And so we're expanding on it this week, thanks to the question of a viewer. And here's what Phillip says. Phillip, by the way, I think you all know, is my spirit guide, my main communicator. So here we go. If we go back to the beginning of creation on earth, there is only silence. As the wind raised and light lit the darkness, the waters began to fill with beings that began with one cell. As the single cell split, and again those two single cells split, this process continued for longer than you can count. As eons passed and cells continued to split, they also began to bond and form into nucleus families or soul families. Remembering that humans have evolved from a single cell, it is easier to understand the message that you are one, meaning all of us. Of course, you look at today's world and say, but we are so different. If we look at the thoughts of the mind, yes, you are different. But if we look at the physical presence, there are many similarities. All humans have the same basic physiology. You all have hearts, brains, muscles, nerves, skin, and so on. You may have different blood types, but you all bleed and bleed blood of the same color. The differences come about because of the soul family you bonded to at the beginning of civilization and choices that we've made, which brings us back to last week's message that for every choice you make, you are also living the opposite choice in a different dimension. Since choices are endless, there are many yous out there. So it goes to say that when you dismiss another, you dismiss a part of yourself or another self who is you. Rather than dismissing the other, it better behooves you to work toward the understanding of and compassion for the other. In doing so, you learn how the other lives within you, so you are actually looking into an inward mirror to better understand yourself. The other is merely a mirror to help you better understand your own complexities and humanness. Once you begin to understand this concept, you begin your personal healing. As you begin your personal healing, you begin the world's healing. Denial of an illness does not heal the illness. It must be looked at, examined, given a path to healing, and then the work of healing begins. I want to repeat that. Denial of an illness does not heal the illness. It must be looked at, examined, and given a path to healing. And then the work of healing begins. I think that's an important word. The work of healing begins. This path of healing is the same for the individual and the collective. At this point in the human story, healing is taking place. There are those who are pointing out what must be healed, those who oppose the healing, and those who work for the healing. Just as there are different families who express life differently from one another, there are also members of the same family who express life differently. Taken to the larger picture, family members may express life differently, but are all family in the end. As is the same with different families. You are part of the human family, that single cell that began life on earth so long ago. You are all part of the human family, that single cell that began life on earth so very long ago. I hope that answers the question. If not, let us know and we'll go even deeper. And as I say, it never ceases to amaze me what Phillip comes up with. And the more I learn, the more I know nothing. There's so much to learn and so much that we we don't know about. There we go. And so let's get our message. As most of you know, this is an oracle book. It's one of my books. It is available, as are all of my books that are still in print, and I think there's still 4 in print. It is available on Amazon. Just Amazon my name and Master's Book of Answers. So thank you all for coming. I appreciate knowing that you're out there. And thank you for your comments. I do eventually get around to answering them. And as you saw, we just flip through and we start opening up the book, because each page is a different wisdom. It's just one page. So we have to think left or right. And I'm having a little confusion in my own mind, thinking, is it left or is it right? And I have to tell you, I'm getting right, but it's not a strong right. So if you're having a little confusion there on picking up which is we're getting today, right or left page, that's because so am I. So I think both pages are going to be important for all of us. Usually, as many of you know, we read both pages anyway, but the one page is the general comment for all of us, and the other is the message maybe just for you. But in this case, I'm getting right for all of us, but I'm also getting a strong left. So here we go. Here's the right. And of course, it goes along with what we've just said. If you have the vision of reality, you can turn away from the turmoil of the world. If you have the vision of reality, you can turn away from the turmoil of the world. This is on page 181, by the way. Someone asked me if I'd start telling you the page numbers so they could put it in their journals. So if you have the vision of reality, you can turn away from the turmoil of the world. You know, that's exactly what we were just talking about, that we really are all one. If we look at the bigger picture of what's going on in the US and which is affecting the world, we can look at those who seem to be doing harm or who are doing harm to the world and to others. We can look at that and we can say they're a catalyst. They're the catalyst to bring that pus out of the wound so the wound can begin its healing. And we have begun the healing. But it takes time. And this is something very important that we all must remind ourselves. And this is to the left side, page 180. Once a word is spoken, it is already on its way and cannot be recanted. Once a word is spoken, it is already on its way and cannot be recanted. My friends, when I just videotaped these and copied them or just downloaded them, I would videotape on my phone and then just download. These are live. I don't go in and edit them. And I'm very aware of course I make errors, but you know what? It helps me remember that once a word is spoken, it can't be recanted. Maybe we can edit it out of a video, but we can't edit it out of another's heart. So please be kind to yourself and to others. And remember, when you're unkind to another person, you're really being unkind to that part of yourself that is part of that single cell that started way back then, and of that soul family that you're a part of. And that being, that person, you may be in another dimension that you're meeting again in this dimension. Be kind to yourselves in all dimensions and all forms. Thank you, Joanne and Wendy and all of you for coming. And happy birthday to Joanne, and happy birthday to Wendy. Joanne had hers on 10/11, and Wendy's going to have hers on the day after mine, which is 11/11. And thank you for accepting our love. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for coming week after week. Thank you for your comments. I love you. I love you. Don't forget the monthly predictions. Those are all in the monthly. In the it's below. It's below. So we'll see you next week or on the monthly predictions. Until then, my friends, be kind.